Hello guys, so as some of you might know, May is EDS Awareness Month. So there are currently 13 different types of EDS that have been identified. Oh boy. Classical EDS, classic-like EDS, cardiac valvular EDS, vascular EDS, hypermobile EDS, arthroclasia EDS, dermospraxis EDS, kyphoscoliotic EDS, brittle cornea syndrome, spondylodysplastic EDS, I don't know if I said that right, muscular contractual EDS, myopathic EDS, and periodontal EDS. Oh, wow. All bar hypermobile EDS, the defective gene has been identified, but as far as I'm aware, no EDS has a cure. I was diagnosed with hypermobile type in 2017. However, recently I've been referred to genetics for testing for the vascular type of EDS. Vascular is one of the rarer and unfortunately more fatal types of EDS. It affects roughly between 1 in 50,000 to 1 in 200,000. So vascular EDS, it can affect the blood vessels and internal organs, which can lead to spontaneous ruptures and internal bleeding. Right now, the median lifespan for someone with vascular EDS is only 48 years old. 48. And unfortunately, many don't even make it to this age. So vascular EDS can be identified by certain characteristics, some physical, so large prominent eyes, thin pinched nose, small lobed ears, translucent skin where you can see the veins prominently, early aging of the hands, hypermobility of the small joints, easy bruising and sleeping with eyes open, just to name a few. Unfortunately, as of right now, there is no treatment or cure for vascular EDS, and diagnosis often means a poor prognosis for patients. Due to its rarity, I really wanted to talk about it this May awareness because it is one of the rarer types that does often get overlooked. My amazing friend Carla and her daughter Effie both suffer with vascular EDS, and with their permission, I am allowed to share their story with you today. So like any first-time parents, Carla and Craig Stillwell were extremely excited about the birth of their first child, Effie Celia Stillwell. Effie was born on the 17th of May 2016 and weighed a teeny tiny 5 pounds 3 ounces. I can't imagine how little she must have been. And obviously Carla and Craig were over the moon. At the time of Effie's birth, Carla unexpectedly bruised extremely severely, and doctors couldn't understand why her skin was extremely fragile, but unfortunately this just ended up being pass away comments and nothing came of it. When Effie turned about a month old, Carla and Craig knew something was really not right with their daughter. She would vomit throughout the day, she was lethargic and had little to no energy, and Carla and Craig actually tried to seek help many times within this short span of time, but their cries for help fell on deaf ears. On the 15th of August 2016, Effie awoke screaming, a scream that no parent would want to hear. While Carla went to get a bottle, Craig tried to soothe his inconsolable daughter, and suddenly she went quiet. She went limp, pale-faced, and was gasping for air. Once at the hospital, tests were run on Effie and it was discovered that she had had a bleed on the brain. And not only this, but they suspected it wasn't the first. Within 12 hours of Carla and Craig reaching the hospital, detectives were brought in. They were told the one thing that no parent would want to hear: "We believe you've harmed your daughter." At this point they were told they could either go to the station voluntarily for questioning, or if not, they would be arrested. As any decent parent would, Carla and Craig begged to stay at their child's bedside. Craig was then arrested on suspicion of GBH against his 3-month-old daughter. Both parents were taken separately to the station and Craig was put in the cells alone, wondering what was happening to his fragile little girl. The next morning, both parents were released on bail, but they were not allowed to see Effie. She had been placed under police protection. A court case was very quickly brought against Carla and Craig, in which they had to seek legal help very quickly. And whilst investigations went on, Effie was placed in foster care. and they were only allowed to see her 3 times a week under supervision. If it wasn't for the medical knowledge of Carla's solicitor, this story would end here. There would be no happy ending, and Carla and Craig would still be looking for answers to all the questions that they had. Upon meeting Carla, seeing photos of her and her daughter and hearing their story, Carla's solicitor suggested EDS as a possible cause for Effie's symptoms. It certainly seemed like both of them would be candidates for genetic testing. So bloods were then taken by a genetics team and sent over to a specialist in Amsterdam. In February 2017, it was concluded that both Effie and Carla had the vascular type of EDS. For 23 years, Carla had lived without knowing that she'd had this illness. On the 26th of April 2017, the case was closed and it was determined that Effie's bleed on the brain was more than likely caused by her vascular type of EDS. The little girl that they'd fought so hard for was allowed to come home. And unfortunately, nothing will be able to give Carla and Craig back the time that they missed. To this day, Carla and Craig are the biggest advocates of vascular EDS. Not a day goes by that I don't see Carla is trying to help somebody else out, offering advice, offering help. They have dedicated their lives to spreading the message about this awful illness. Effie is luckily thriving, she's doing amazingly, and both her and Carla are able to get the support that they need medically. So luckily there's a happy ending to this story, but unfortunately not every VEDS patient's story is a happy ending. Not a week goes by, unfortunately, that I don't see that friends of friends with EDS have passed from a spontaneous rupture or a bleed. And it never gets easier each time. If I could ask you to do one thing for me, it would be to spread Carla and Effie's story so that other families might not have to suffer the same that Carla and Craig did. And also to give this illness exposure that it needs, because we need a cure. We need to find answers on how to stop this taking more lives. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to the Stillwells for letting me share their story for EDS Awareness Month. They were also featured in This Morning and The Guardian, so I'll provide links to those down below if you're interested in reading more about it. I'm so fortunate that I can call the Stillwells my friends. They are amongst some of the gentlest and the kindest and bravest people that I know. So let's keep spreading the word about vascular EDS, and hopefully one day we will find a cure. And just a side note, Effie was away from her parents for 8 months and 21 days. 8 months and 21 days from their little girl. It's just, it doesn't bear thinking about. There are so many people fighting every single day like Carla and Effie, very, very brave individuals, and I'm lucky to call some of those people my friends. I hope this video reaches you well, and hopefully see you soon.